In St. Louis Park, there is a place called the Academy of Whole Learning. Wyayn Rasmussen is the leader of that academy. And she's joining me this morning with some ideas, some suggestions, some good lessons for all of us as we head into the summertime and our kids are in school. Good morning, Wyayn. Thanks for coming on WCCO. How goes it on this kind of dreary morning here?
Oh, well, it's great inside here. We're in school still, so
part of this here, because as I understand, the Academy of Whole Learning focuses on kids along the autism spectrum. Have I got that part of it right?
yes, most of our students are on the autism spectrum, but not all. But all of our kids have learning differences, that's for sure.
Yeah, and the idea for our conversation here is to remind, and this I would think, so much of what I'm reading carries over for students regardless of where they are. But I could see if you have someone who is dealing with autism at one level or another, the idea of continuing some kind of a routine, Wyayn.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I think all students, but especially students with autism, need that consistent routine to help them be successful. And I can see it in the classrooms right now. The anxiety has begun to increase just a bit as our students are anticipating a different routine for summer.
Yeah, and it's interesting to note, to me anyway, that, and I remember this, that teachers will oftentimes spend the beginning of the next school year sort of reteaching things that were taught. And this goes not just for autistic kids, but across all grade levels and all levels of education, but things that were forgotten over the summer because we got away from some of those habits and some of those routines.
Well, there's kind of a rule of thumb that you hear in the schools that it takes as many weeks to recover as the break was. So if your summer break is 12 to 13 weeks, teachers in the classroom kind of expect that it will take 12 to 13 weeks to get them back to where the students were the previous May or June before they can really introduce new content. So summer break, it can be detrimental, and this is even more so for students who have learning disabilities.
Yeah, and we have heard, many of us, about summer brain drain or summer learning loss. What are some things that we can do then to prevent that, regardless of where our kids are learning and what they are learning?
Right. Well, that is a very good question. And because we're in Minnesota, we don't have year-round school. So that is always an option. Some places have gone to year-round school. We are reluctant to give that up because of our winters, I believe. But there's so many offerings within the Twin Cities that students can do and within the state of Minnesota. So if help your students develop their interests, find their interests in something as simple as photography or outdoor or nature or camps, those are all great. At Academy of Whole Learning, we have summer programming all summer long, and we have high interest areas. We have Lego clubs, we have social clubs, but we also teach the academics for math and reading and writing so that we don't lose that, and for all grade levels, K through 12.
Yeah, but as you point out, too, and this is why we're talking with you from the Academy of Whole Learning, is that with kids with autism, it is even, if it's possible to say this, it's every bit as important, if not more important, and that involves some planning ahead. Let your child know what to expect for the summer, because that's got to be confusing, too, if, let's say, one or two individuals in a family are continuing to go to school, and yet others, their friends, their classmates, or many others are not. That's got to be somewhat confusing.
Right, because summer does have a lack of routine. It is kind of important for parents to teach that routine and help kids with their routine. So if you're going to a summer school program, I would visit the school ahead of time. If you're going to camp, visit it ahead of time. If you have students with autism, let them become familiar before they go into that environment. But for students, if you have siblings at home and one that has a significant learning disability or is on the autism spectrum and one that's not, you may find that they are craving different routines. And so I think parents meet the needs of their different kids as they need to. And so you might have some kids that are going to a horseback riding camp and another child in the same family that's going all day long to one of our summer programs.
Yeah, I know that my own grandchildren have done these. They're both in elementary school in Minneapolis, and they have always, it seems like their school ends on this day, but some sort of an activity, regardless of what it might be, will begin the following Monday for them so that they keep a routine. But it's got to be some kind of an activity that wouldn't present sort of oh, I'm dreading this situation, something that they could be enthusiastic about?
No, that is a very good point. So you don't want students to not like going to school. At Academy of Whole Learning, that's actually our first goal we have for our students. The school year is for students to want to come to school. Many students come here because they haven't liked their previous setting, or they were bullied, or they weren't successful. That's our very first goal, is that they want to come to school, and then we can begin teaching other concepts. So the summer is no different than that. You want your child to want to be involved, so there's all kinds of fun things that are out there, but the most important thing is to keep them involved, keep their learning, keep it fresh in their mind so they don't have to start over when it comes in the fall.
I like some of the tips you offer up on things that parents can do to help engage their kids this summer, whether they are in a summer program or not. Many cases, like if the family is taking a family vacation somewhere. I like this suggestion. If your child is older and has let them help calculate the mileage you're getting on the family road trip.
Right, or they can add up the money that you're spending on gas. Those
Yeah.
are all excellent ideas. Reading a map. Sometimes we have gone to our handheld phones, but that's another way to get off of screen time, is to pull out the map and have kids can figure out the mileage on the map, or they can use the scale to determine how long. Those are if you're going on a trip. You know, writing skills is another thing. You can write letters, even emails to grandma, cousins, aunts, friends that you don't see during the summer. Starting blogs. Writing is a great skill to keep up over the summer as well.
There's another suggestion, Bookworm Wednesdays, making it a regular thing to involve a weekly trip to the library. My mother, I remember doing this on occasion, and I know that with my grandchildren, their parents do this too, that because this is how you raise avid readers too, by getting them to the library and letting them find new things to read and always having something new in front of them, especially if they don't have that access within their school.
Right, and in the summer you rarely have access to the library. So yes, the libraries are so much fun. That's an easy one to look up online too, to see what activities they have. Reading activities where volunteers will come in and read books, or you can just go in on your own. And there's I love libraries, but
Yeah.
I'm a teacher. So.
Well, yeah, of course you love libraries. You are an educator. You know, and I've talked about on this show many times about my enthusiasm for reading, and I know full well, Wyayn, that it came when I was very, very young, you know, with my mother sitting on the couch, probably holding a baby in one arm, but helping me turn pages in my first books with her other hand. So that's where that interest begins. Hey, good stuff all the way around for trying to keep kids in a plan, much the same way you work at it here with the Academy of Whole Learning in St. Louis Park, especially with kids who are with autism, and it is something about to avoid that brain drain or the summer learning loss, so you don't have to spend so much time sort of recapturing that. Keep the routine up. Wyayn, thanks for the conversation.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's great to talk with you.
You have a great day.
All right, thank you very much.
Bye-bye.